Tonight on Cougar News, we mourn the loss of a Santa Clarita mother.
Plus, a Canyon Country resident gets her shot at stardom on The Voice.
Also, we have the latest on sports around the Santa Clarita Valley. Cougar News starts now.
This is Cougar News.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Cougar News. I'm Kimberly Perez.
And I'm Sam Delgado, and here's the latest from the Cougar Newsroom. A Santa Clarita mother was killed Friday night at the hands of a suspected driver. Jaylene Aguilera has the latest on the investigation into the woman's death.
Katie Evans, mother of 6, was just heading home after visiting her newborn twin girls at the hospital. Just minutes away from home, Evans was killed in a car crash. The crash took place on Golden Valley Road and Valley Center Drive. Investigators suspect that Evans was hit by a drunk driver that lost control after hitting another car. Evans was then later pronounced dead at the scene. Investigators have not released any suspect details and are still waiting on toxicology test results to determine if alcohol was the cause of this fatal incident.
We did obtain the blood samples from the other night, but we will this week be seeking the warrants for the downloads of the vehicles. And then our toxicology for the blood samples that were submitted, that gets sent down to the LA County Crime Lab, and that typically takes about 2 to 4 weeks to get the results of that from that. So, and that'll be really a big factor in this.
Evans now leaves her husband alone with 6 of their children, including the 2 premature newborns. Reporting for Cougar News, I'm Jaylene Aguilera.
It took minutes for suspected gunman Stephen Paddock to shoot scores of people in Las Vegas and leave horror in the hearts of the American people. The massacre left 58 people dead and hundreds more injured. A former COC student who escaped from the bloodshed shared her story from that night. Mauricio LaPlante has more.
Even for the people who survived uninjured from the deadliest American shooting to date in the 21st century, the trauma is unavoidable.
Everybody dropped, and then it felt like forever. I have no clue how long I was ducked down.
Brittany Maldonado, a former COC student who survived the shooting, shared the story of her escape.
I will never forget thinking that I'm going to get shot in the head. I'm going to die, and it's going to hurt. And that's the first thought I wake up with every time I've gone to sleep.
Maldonado battles to keep memories like these at bay.
No, my life will never be the same. I can't go back to what my life was, at 9:59 on Sunday night.
However, survivors are using social media to network and support each other.
When I had to see the worst of humanity, I also got to see the best. I saw some absolutely amazing things. I'm not the only person that's put out Facebook posts looking for somebody that helped, a complete stranger that's helped them.
Maldonado is using social media to connect with survivors she met at the scene, including the man who helped her escape.
By the time I turned around and the man that actually helped me get out was telling me and his sister to start running, 90% of the people that had been on my side of the stage were already gone.
Despite the trauma that may never leave her, Maldonado says the support from other survivors, friends, and family will guide her through the long journey to recovery.
I will take trauma and probably PTSD with, if that means that I get to come home and I get to hug my family and friends and my boyfriend and my dog and be here to struggle.
Reporting for Cougar News, this is Mauricio LaPlante.
This recent mass shooting in Las Vegas has raised concern about campus safety across multiple colleges and universities, including COC. Our Louis Tran dives into the college campus safety plans in case of a sudden emergency.
Devastating. Speechless. Just a couple of words to describe the recent mass shooting in Las Vegas that left the entire nation in shock. due to the sudden incident. What does that mean for colleges and universities? Are schools prepared to face an emergency similar to Las Vegas? How do students feel about their safety on their college campuses? Well, here at COC, we ask students about their thoughts.
Currently, I feel safe. I think mainly just because nothing major has happened to me personally.
Others were still wondering of what to do in case of an emergency.
Not much, no.
The college currently has safety measures in place if an active shooter were to enter campus.
Incident command team who are leading the response to that incident, and so they're coordinating, all the different aspects of that, from who's on scene to what messaging is going out.
Both campuses currently have locks on all their doors, but only some locked from the inside. In case of a sudden emergency, students are notified immediately on their phone and should dial 7 on any classroom landline to contact campus security. COC also has cameras in place to monitor the campus 24/7.
We have some cameras in some buildings, and we have some cameras on the exterior of the campus.
If that wasn't enough, the campus has a 24/7 security patrol, all who have a law enforcement background.
There's a lot of security cameras too, so yeah, definitely feel like they have it on gridlock.
Most emergencies can be prevented if signs are detected early on. So if you see something, say something before it's too late. Reporting from Cougar News, this is Louis Tran.
The Affordable Health Care Act, gun control, and student loan relief are hot-button issues for the average student. A panel of professionals discussed solutions at COC recently. Jed Bookout has more.
Are hopefully at a point now where
Democratic congressional candidate Katie Hill visited College of the Canyons for a student-led political forum. The forum was comprised of Hill, Professors Andres and Coleman, Dr. Alonzo of the COC Board of Trustees, Head of COC Civil Engagement Dr. Robinson, and SCV High School teacher DJ Hamburger. Together, the panel debated the merits of everything from student loan relief to universal health care. The panel began with a moment of silence for those lost in the recent shooting in Las Vegas, but the conversation steered clear of gun control, despite the politically charged nature of the rest of the discussion. Nonetheless, the panel opened the floor up to questions from students.
Do you believe that these nations would be an effective blueprint for universal health care in the United States?
The panel admittedly leaned Democratic, with Hamburger as the sole conservative point of view on the panel. When discussing the Affordable Health Care Act, most agreed that, although it is a flawed system, it could be improved through the implementation of a universalized healthcare system. DJ Hamburger did not agree.
We see Obamacare as working. We think this is a great plan. Why would you want to get rid of this? Unfortunately, there's very few states like us that can support an exchange like that.
Despite the panel steering away from gun control, Hill had much to say on the matter as she is the daughter of a policeman.
So I really believe that we need a across-the-board national rule that people that are regular civilians do not need weapons of war, and that they don't need silencers and they don't need high-capacity magazines. And I'm saying this as a gun owner and somebody who spent my life with guns and who's the daughter of a police officer.
No matter which way the panel leaned ideologically, the consensus was that of excitement for students to be more politically engaged. Hill, herself a former COC student, took time out of campaigning to discuss issues that she felt were important for students to understand.
But I think that this is the time where our generation and even younger generations need to step up and say that we have a voice, that we are going to get involved, and that the future of our country and our communities is so important, and we can't sit on the sidelines anymore. So,
for Cougar News, I'm Jed Bookout.
Once again, the small town of Bock City popped up in the heart of Santa Clarita for just one day, and reporter Carlos Lara was there to capture it.
For the 8th year in a row, Santa Clarita Valley residents gathered at Heritage Park to form Bock City. Participants spent one night sleeping at the park in box homes of their own construction in order to raise money for homeless families in their community. Some forts referenced popular television shows, while others simply embraced silliness.
This is our biggest fundraiser for the year. The great news is we've already surpassed our $70,000 goal. And what we use with this money is support homeless families. They come into our program. We partner with faith organizations where they sleep, where they get fed, the kids go to school, parents go to work, and after a 90-day period, we help families transition into transitional housing.
The event also included a raffle, games, musical performances, A speech from a single father who was helped by Family Promise.
I've slept in boxes before. I've slept in parks. It's not a fun experience.
And an appearance by the mayor himself.
People who have inconsistent incomes, or single parents, or people who have a degree of mental illness or substance issues. All those factors can step in and create problems.
The night concluded with a candle lighting for the homeless families in the area and the victims of the recent Las Vegas shooting.
Well, the day's festivities are just about done, and everyone's getting ready for bed. Reporting from Fort Jeffrey for Cougar News, I'm Carlos Lara.
Wildfires have been ravaging Northern California. Here to tell us more is Jed Bookout.
Thanks, Kimberly. The wildfires in Northern California continue to blaze as a massive death toll and catastrophic losses occur. At least 15 are dead, more than 2,000 structures have been destroyed, and over 200 missing persons reports have been filed. The largest area affected is California's wine country, currently at 0% containment. Due to the high concentration of fires, cell phone activity is limited. Nonetheless, the fire department is working around the clock to contain the blaze. After allegations of sexual assault and misconduct came to light, Harvey Weinstein has been fired from the Weinstein Company. Over a dozen women have come forward with stories of harassment from Weinstein, including Angelina Jolie and Gwyneth Paltrow. Countless celebrities have spoken out against the studio mogul, including former President Barack Obama, who stated that Weinstein needs, quote, to be condemned and held accountable regardless of wealth or status. President Trump will sign an executive order tomorrow morning aimed at taking action on health care after Congress's failure to repeal Obamacare. Trump was unable to lead his party to a consensus on how to repeal and replace Obama's signature policy, but signified that change will be immediate. The details provided were sparse, but Trump stated his plan will, quote, take care of many of the people that have been so badly hurt on health care. And that's what's trending. I'm Jed Bookout. For more stories in and around the Santa Clarita Valley, you can check us out at cougarnews.com. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Jed. U.S. Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos is in the process of changing Obama-era guidelines on how colleges must deal with sexual assault. COC's Vice President of Student Service, Dr. Michael Wildling, talks about how those changes will affect us here on campus. Sam Jostin has more.
And now this campus official, who may or may not have any legal training in adjudicating sexual misconduct.
Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos is in the process of reversing Obama-era policies regarding college sexual assault investigations.
The Obama administration, they wanted to apply Title IX to equal protection for sexual assault case. In other words, they said sexual assault cases are a violation of a student's civil rights. And they issued guidelines to us. College of the Canyons did comply with those, and we changed our policies to meet the requirements of the Dear Colleague letter.
Of the policy changes, the most controversial has been giving colleges the option of increasing the standard of evidence used to determine guilt of the accused.
The original DCL said that our standard of proof had to be preponderance of the evidence. Just a little bit over 50% was all you need, 50% of proof. All you needed to find culpability or guilt. So it appears that DeVos and the Trump administration want colleges to have the ability to up that standard of proof, like clear and convincing, 75-25.
But as far as standard of evidence goes, it seems like not much is changing at COC.
College of the Canyons always had preponderance of the evidence, and we still have preponderance of the evidence. The guidance said that we can change it if we want. Our system, we feel, works fine, so we have no intent to change it.
So what will be happening at COC?
It extends the time that you're allowed to conduct your investigation. It doesn't give you a hard cap of 60 days. And it allows for a mediated resolution.
But all in all, not much seems to be changing at COC just yet.
So far, our stuff is compliant with the new guidelines.
Reporting for Cougar News, I'm Sam Josen.
While some Santa Clarita residents choose to play sports and listen to music, one man chooses to collect rare action figures. James Genn tells all.
Santa Clarita Valley is a timid, quaint little town hiding within the outskirts of Southern California. Known best for its peace and quiet, The residents of this county are welcomed and treated with a heavenly environment. Over the weekend, I had the opportunity to meet with one of these residents and get some insight on his lifestyle. Nicholas Howlett, a local collector of this valley, invited me to his home to observe and document his vast, unimaginably huge collection of action figures, comic books, and props. I quickly learned that this is no ordinary resident. Curious of his hobby, I asked exactly what got Mr. Howlett into this lifestyle.
I started collecting because all the cool kids in school, they were watching sports, they were watching boxing, they were watching baseball, they were watching basketball. Quite frankly, I can't tell the difference between any of those sports. I never scored a touchdown in baseball before. So I decided that comic books was for me, and comic books naturally led to action figures and pogs and collectible cards and everything that helped me feel like a man.
Mr. Howlett is not a focuser. He collects a wide range of lines, series, and titles.
I collect everything. I collect Transformers, I collect Marvel, I collect DC, I collect Hellboy, Judge Dredd, I collect film stuff like Blade Runner and Indiana Jones and Star Wars.
After spending some time with this man and getting to know him and his collection, the question had to be asked: is there an end in sight?
I don't really see myself stopping collecting. It really has taken over my life in both positive and negative ways. And my thought is, right now I have collecting. I could have a family, I could have a wife, I could have kids, or I could have Batman.
Very rarely am I in the presence of unique lifestyle. Today was an exception. Nicholas Howlett truly speaks to the heart and soul of the Santa Clarita Valley. This was James Gent for Cougar News.
Coming up next on Cougar News, Santa Clarita raises money for a disease affecting everyone.
Also, are you looking for a fun Halloween activity? Stay tuned.
The American Red Cross urgently needs blood and platelet donations and asks donors to schedule an appointment to give now. Every 2 seconds, someone in the United States needs blood. Your blood donation is critical and can help save lives. Please, schedule an appointment today. Download the Blood Donor app, visit redcrossblood.org, or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. You can make a difference.
They've been very caring. They care about every single student that's in the class.
Yeah, everyone seems to be pretty friendly with each other. No one's really afraid to ask each other for help.
Working with other people, not being ornery, actually listening to what people say, collaborating with them to create a really good product.
It's great to use the same stuff the pros use, especially at a community college.
Hopefully we give them a pathway to have their creativity showcased.
I've gotten a great education.
I love the access to equipment.
I've made lifelong friendships.
I have great teachers.
You're watching Cougar News.
Welcome back. The Santa Clarita Comic and Toy Expo returned to COC. The family-friendly event was put on by Kim's Art Collectible, a local family-owned comic shop. The expo had a variety of exhibitors on hand selling their comics and toys. I was able to talk to the organizers about the event. Families from all over came to College of the Canyons to check out the Santa Clarita Comic and Toy Expo. The event included old and new comic books, a handful of toy collectibles, a variety of retro video games, and tons of merchandise. The expo was put on by Kim's Art Collectible, a comics and toy shop located in Santa Clarita.
And a lot of our regular customers were looking for a local show, something that was accessible to families and to people who maybe didn't want to make that trip to LA. With free parking and low cost for entrance, it was definitely something that everyone seems to be enjoying.
Getting all the comic and toy vendors to come to the expo is no easy task. The owners at Kim's Art Collectible do a lot of recruiting themselves to get the vendors to come. Some vendors, however, reach out to the owners themselves so they can be a part of the expo.
This is also a location that is not all the way down in LA because I live in Kern County. So this is a good in-between point. And that makes for a good situation.
The expo included a lot of great artists from the comic and toy world. The artists shared some of their work and knowledge with the people that attended the event.
Right now we actually have quite a few different comic artists, from Star Wars to Hanna-Barbera artists, Warner Brothers, Marvel, DC, all that good stuff. So old school and new school.
Kim's Art Collectible created this event a few years ago to provide a space where all comic and toy fans can interact with other fans of comic book culture. With such a great turnout, the Santa Clarita Comics and Toy Expo will return to COC in March. With Cougar News, I'm Sam Delgado.
The Santa Clarita Valley may be a bit sleepy, but you don't have to head up to wine country if you're looking for a little vino.
If you're tired of this view and looking for a little more of this, the Santa Clarita Valley might not have the buzz of the city, but a few local places might have just what you're looking for.
These places serve the people that live here as opposed to, San Fernando or LA, where people they go all over.
Right.
Most customers here probably live here as well. So
And people from Santa Clarita like to stay in Santa Clarita.
Right.
We don't like going over the hill.
It's a little bubble.
It takes takes a lot of energy.
Well, I think there's just a real sense of community here, and I wouldn't have gotten that if I opened this place in the valley.
I call it cheers. I think everybody needs a place just to wind down.
If you really want to feel like you got away, head on over to Sleepy Newhall.
We love wine, and we love making wine, and we love people who love to drink wine. Dessert place up the street, I think it's great. I think it's going to give people a place to come and hang out, not just come for dinner and go straight home. Go to a movie down at the Lemley when it's built, walk up and down the street, have a glass of wine, have a bottle of wine, take a bottle of wine home, take a case.
For Cougar News, I'm Kimberly Perez.
One step at a time, residents are raising money and awareness for the fight against Alzheimer's. Yet today, there is still no known cure. Here's Michelle Lutz to show us how this disease is affecting our community.
Team recruitment chair. February of 2016, my husband was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease.
Willow Robinson, one of millions affected by this disease.
It takes a village to help with Alzheimer's. So if you have a loved one that has Alzheimer's, you need to ask for help because you can't do it alone.
Willow wrote a book for her husband and reads it to him every day.
I wanted that book to be something that he could remember us with the pictures, and it's working.
One step at a time, raising awareness for Alzheimer's, 603 people came together to support each other at Bridgeport Park in Santa Clarita. Local senior homes and other resources were there to answer any questions of those affected by Alzheimer's disease.
We got to know that right here, we're behind you. We got your back. Here in Santa Clarita, there's the association that supports through programs, hotlines, support groups.
Before the walk began, people enjoyed entertainment and a ceremony. A ceremony to remind those who are fighting they are not alone. 149 teens walked, raising $84,000 to help find a cure.
We want to find a cure. We want to find a treatment. We want to be able to stop this disease.
For Cougar News, I'm Michelle Lutz.
And now Jaylene Aguilera is here to tell us about what's going on in entertainment.
Thanks, guys. Artists and musicians can now showcase their skills thanks to The Stage Door, a local venue that plays host to open mic for rising talents. Ashley Bautista tells us more.
The Stage Door at Keyboard Gallery Music Center in Santa Clarita opens their doors to local artists and musicians looking to get some extra playing time and experience under their belt. Owner of the venue and a musician himself, Dennis Weber, tells us more.
Initially, we started open mic night, or actually having the venue here for not just open mic night, but for musicians in general here in Santa Clarita. That could be for singers, songwriters, want to try out their material. This might be a great venue for them to do that, before they do the bigger gig.
Dennis took the stage and showed us some of his artistry. Another musician who was there showcasing their talent was Janice Poole, an aspiring singer studying music at COC. I asked Genesis what she hopes for in the future and ultimately what her dreams are in the music industry.
I want to be a musician. I've always had the dream to be, famous when I was younger. I've always wanted to play for big crowds and perform, and so definitely I'd like to be a musician.
Support your local talent at the Stage Door the first Tuesday of every month. Reporting for Cougar News, I'm Ashley Bautista.
What happens when your path leads you to your dreams? Canyon Country resident Carly Webster is making her dream a reality. Michelle Lutz heard her story. Let's take a look.
I found something in you that I call home.
Your hometown girl, and a contestant on NBC's The Voice.
I love her voice.
I never thought that I would be in this place.
Carly Webster is following her dreams.
There's nothing to lose if I just auditioned for this show.
Failures never stopped her, even when she was told she couldn't.
I hope that anyone who has ever experienced that before knows that that does not mean that they're not good enough, and that does not mean that they should stop what they're doing.
Her family, her support, never let her stop believing in herself.
If I had that little fire in me that kept saying, just keep going, it's okay, you'll have that moment. Because it's true, you will have that moment as long as you just keep trying and keep pushing and keep working on getting better.
Carly found herself on Team Miley after the blind auditions.
And I look forward to having you make a mark in her story.
What I wanted to do on the show was really just represent all of the strong women who have revolutionized music for women. And so that's my thing, is all the singer-songwriters who kind of made a name for females in music. That has inspired me my whole life, and that's what I hope to do outside of The Voice as well.
Carly's blind audition cover of Carly Simon's You're So Vain made the top charts on iTunes.
It's a dream that I had since I was a little girl, and this show helped make that come true.
While studying music industries at the University of Southern California, she has also worked with local artists from College of the Canyons.
I met so many incredible songwriters that go to COC and live in Santa Clarita, and to be able to write songs with them really just showed me how much talent we have locally. I'm just so grateful that the community has all come together to support me and to support the show. It's truly been far more than I could have ever expected. The wildest dreams that you might have can come true as long as you keep working hard. And I want all the young girls to know that working hard is what's going to bring you exactly where you want to be.
For Cougar News, I'm Michelle Lutz.
Oh my God, this is crazy. And that's the latest on entertainment news. Back to you, Sam and Kimberly.
Thanks, Shailene. Over the past 50 years, the suicide rate has tripled among young adults between the age of 15 and 24, and men are 4 times more likely than women to do it. Officials at COC are making a major push to combat these sobering statistics, promoting good mental health as a perfect antidote. Betty Varela has more.
They say everyone has their own mental health story, at least once in their life. Even if it's not their own, it's someone they know. The College of the Canyons invited Art with an Impact to hold a mental health workshop.
Here with Art with Impact, it's a nonprofit. We are focused on reducing the stigma of mental illness on college campuses, using art and discussion as a way to bridge a communication to talk about topics like stigma and mental illness that sometimes young adults tend to shy away from.
They showed award-winning films made by students all over the globe. Because of the sensitive nature of the films, depression, anxiety, suicide, things that make people uncomfortable, they had therapists on hand to engage conversation in between each film.
This workshop was really impactful to watch these movies, to be able to feel what people are going through when they have a mental illness, whether it's depression or suicidal feelings or overwhelming anxiety. It's amazing the way the films were able to convey how deeply people feel.
I thought the workshop was interesting. Like I said, I've never really been to an event like this before. I think it would be very beneficial on a college campus to speak to young people about mental health, about some of the stereotypes about mental health, opening up a conversation to talk more about mental health and wellness and mental disorders and suicide especially.
The films were shown here in a building that's kind of hidden. There wasn't that many students that showed up, but the workshop was very effective. Reporting for the Cougar News, I'm Betty Varela.
A zombie outbreak has hit Santa Clarita. Hundreds have risen from the dead and are looking for flesh to feast on. Francesca Ward has the latest on a game made to save the human race.
When the apocalypse comes, will you survive?
That's the question this Halloween when Z-Tag comes to Santa Clarita.
It's zombies against humans.
Players compete in a real-life apocalypse that can turn deadly quick.
The full intent of this is to really inspire the future generation of kids who like video games, but try to bring them out into the physical space so they're getting some exercise and they're being connected to their friends and bonding together in a physical fashion, face-to-face, and forming teams instead of being separated by screens.
Players receive a tag to wear over their heart. The tag has different modes. Red stands for zombie, and green stands for human. The tag participants wear can be purchased and used for play at home. Z-Tag will be hosting free games here in Santa Clarita throughout the month of October. For more information, go to ztag.com/SCV.
As a zombie, will your horde succeed in spreading the global pandemic?
Reporting for Cougar News, I'm Francesca Ward.
Coming up next on Cougar News, see how you can get into the fall spirit.
And Ashley Bautista has the latest in sports. Stay tuned.
In a home fire, can your family safely escape in 2 minutes?
I heard my oldest son holler for mommy, and all I could see was smoke. The boys, we never really worked with them, I guess, on telling them what to do if there's a fire. We lost our child. We lost everything.
Make sure you can safely escape a fire. Practice your 2-minute drill. Test your smoke alarms monthly. Make your plan today.
College of the Canyons creates possibilities.
It's a gateway to opportunities.
A place where students learn they can believe in themselves.
Behind every possibility at College of the Canyons are the people.
Together we focus on achieving success, one student at a time.
That focus is a reflection of what we value.
It defines who we are.
We are. We are.
We are College of the Canyons.
You're watching Cougar News. Welcome back. Have you picked out a pumpkin to carve yet? If you haven't, you can head on over to the Harvest Festival at Gilchrist Farm to get yours and enjoy a day full of fun. Here's Christina Arias with more.
Although it is still sunny and hot in Southern California, Gilchrist Farm hosts their annual Harvest Festival, bringing in family and friends from all across Santa Clarita Valley to enjoy a day full of fall traditions. The Harvest Festival offers a pumpkin patch, petting zoo, and arts and crafts. Also, for the very first time this year, pig races.
The pig races are something new this year, and they're like
They were hard at first to set up and get situated, but now that we have the hang of it, they're so fun and so awesome.
Yeah, the pigs are definitely like the best, and then they have the pictures afterward, and so we have like mini, like super little baby potbelly pigs, and we're using them for pictures. And like for us to like work here and socialize them and like feed them, and it's just like the pigs are definitely my favorite.
Vendors and organizations are also at the festival selling handmade crafts and promoting positivity to the community. Golden Valley High School's Joy Club is one of many trying to make an impact.
Joy Club is a junior optimist club, and our motto is basically kids helping kids. So we come out to events where a lot of kids are at, and we just let them have a good time, let them know that, optimism is the way to go. And it's not only for kids. We like to spread optimism all around the world.
The Harvest Festival will be open daily through the month of October, with events, live music, and food happening on the weekends. Whether you come for the pig races or to pick out a pumpkin, make sure you visit the Harvest Festival, where you and your friends can get into the holiday spirit. For Cougar News, Christina Arias.
The job fair took over the gymnasium here at COC and provided plenty of potential job opportunities awaiting students and those wanting to get back in the field a chance to earn employment. Cougar News reporter Zach Ferber has more.
The job fair rolled into the COC gymnasium with plenty of potential job opportunities awaiting students. COC students weren't the only ones here. Rogelio Murillo came on a class field trip and is looking for a job fit for a 16-year-old.
What brings me to the job fair is my classroom had a field trip to come over here to find jobs, and I just want to work right now. For a 16-year-old, it's mostly like the pizza places, because that's mostly where I believe that teenage people go to get jobs.
Richard Tarlow, a former Marine, speaks on how it's time for him to get back into the working force and talks a little bit about his working past.
I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years. I saw combat, decorated in combat. I practiced law for 27 years plus. I was a professional athlete early on in my background. I have too much time on my hands, and it's time to get back to work again. And I recognize I've been to one of these before, so I recognize it's a good opportunity.
Mark Walton was also in the job market and knows what he would like to gain from events such as the job fair.
More knowledge, more information on what's available in the area, who's hiring. The great thing is that these companies are looking to hire people, and it's an opportunity to get right in front of them.
The job fair provides plenty of information for those who are looking for a job, how to do a resume, and even an online workshop. For Cougar News, I'm Zach Ferber.
There were many great high school football games over the weekend in the Santa Clarita Valley. Ashley Batista has more.
High school league play is back in Santa Clarita, and we kick things off with a classic matchup. Cougar News reporter Tanner Nava tells us more.
It was Friday Night Lights at COC this past weekend as Valencia and Hart battled it out to kick off the Foothill League play in a highly anticipated matchup. Valencia got their offense rolling early as quarterback Connor Downs tossed one of his 3 touchdown passes to wide receiver Michael Wright to give Valencia a 21-0 lead. Foothill League leading rusher Moises Haynes made his impact felt early as he diced his way through the defense to put Valencia into scoring position. Haynes currently has 14 total touchdowns on the season. Hart, however, would not go down quiet as quarterback J.T. Shrout tossed up a perfect ball to wide receiver Davon Jones to get the Indians on the board. A costly mistake by Shrout helped the Vikings sail their way to victory as Javon Wilson recovered the fumble and took it in for another score. Valencia would go on to win by a score of 42-14.
The key was how we prepared during the week and how we approached it. You have a game like that where it was a huge letdown, but then we come out and play, a rival game against Hart. We had to really recover real fast and go back to work. And I thought I was proud of our guys for doing that.
The Vikings have now scored over 100 points in their last 2 games, and they will look to continue that offensive momentum into their next game against Golden Valley next Friday. Reporting for Cougar News, I'm Tanner Nava.
Saugus wrapped up non-conference play with an underperforming 2-3 record as they took on Golden Valley in a Foothill League matchup last Friday. The first play for Golden Valley, Zach Chevalier throws a screen pass and is fumbled. Saugus would pick it up and take it back to the house for an early 7-0 lead. Saugus jumped out to a 14-0 lead before halftime, fueled by running back Quinn Schaefer's 176-yard performance. The Saugus defense shut out Golden Valley and would eventually go on to win by the final score of 17-0. And for the final game Friday night, Canyon took on West Ranch at Valencia High School. Jose Galvin has highlights.
In the opening possession, West Ranch fumbles the football to turn it over to the Cowboys, where they are off to a poor start. Canyon marches down the field after taking over the ball, and they manage to put 7 points on the board on their first drive of the game. Minutes after the touchdown, West Ranch gives it right back to Canyon after their quarterback throws an interception, which also ends the first quarter. Number 7, Sean Gallagher runs it in for a touchdown and makes the score 14-0. Before the end of the half, the West Ranch quarterback runs it in for a touchdown, making it 14-7. Before the end of the half, West Ranch runs it in for a QB sneak to tie the game at 14. Running back Huff runs 71 yards to the red zone to make it a first down. 2 plays later, he puts 7 points on the board to make it 21-14, and West Ranch leads the game. Midway through the fourth quarter, Watt completes a touchdown to Glasgow to make it 28-14. West Ranch seals the game with another touchdown, making it 35-14. From Cougar News, this is Jose Galvin.
And coming off a bye week, the COC football team returns to action, where they will take on Ventura College on the road tomorrow night. Meantime, the COC volleyball team look to improve on their impressive 12-1 record with a home matchup Friday night. The Cougars came into the game ranked 14th in the state, and they took on 17th ranked Moorpark College. We kicked things off in the first set, where Emily Burns got one of her 18 kills in the game to help the Cougars win their first set 25-21. We look ahead to the second set, where Rachel Perez gets the assist on another Burns kill. Perez would go on to lead the team with a total of 44 assists. The Cougars would go on to win the game in straight sets off an ace from Burns. The win currently has the Cougars sitting on a 13-4 record, and they are taking on West LA College this evening. And that will do it for sports. Go Dodgers! Back to you, Sam.
Thanks, Ashley. Who let the dogs out? Hart Park welcomed thousands of people and hundreds of dogs last Sunday to raise awareness about pet adoption. Let's take a look at the future of these furry friends. Here's Michelle Lutz with more.
A forever home. That's what these animals are searching for. Hundreds of adoptable dogs and cats spent their day at Hart Park last Sunday searching for their new families.
There's so many homeless animals, and there's so many petless people, and it just makes sense.
6 Los Angeles shelters were in attendance with many different dog breeds, many of them pit bulls.
It's heartbreaking to see the shelter full of these beautiful animals based on false information, based on myths.
This event featured a Q&A about bully breeds to raise awareness about these types of dogs. Those in attendance brought their own dogs and enjoyed the famous Fun Dog Show. From the largest dog to the best vocalist, the crowd enjoyed every bark. Bow Wows and Meows has been raising awareness for 17 years too.
Adopt. The shelters are full, they're amazing, there's an incredible need, it's overpopulated.
If you're thinking about adopting, head on out to your local shelter.
I like to say let the pet choose you, because people often go in with this idea of something that they want, and when they come home with something different, it's like a miracle.
Everybody. Let's hope all these furry friends find the forever home. For Cougar News, I'm Michelle Lutz.
That does it for this edition of Cougar News. I'm Kimberly Perez. Remember, you can catch us on the web at cougarnews.com.
And I'm Sam Delgado. You can also send us news tips and story ideas to our Twitter handle, COC_Cougar News. And follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Have a good night, everybody.